On a Tuesday morning at Johnson County Community College, well-known jazz vocalist Angela Hagenbach and 5 of Kansas City's greatest jazz musicians come together for the first time, thanks to Lakeview Village resident Doreen Maronde.
The floor kettle.
Doreen has been orchestrating the Ruel Joyce Classical series and jazz series, about 30 recitals a year, for 30 years. She says something magical happens when an audience sits down together to experience live music.
Part of the experience is because we're with other people in the audience. And maybe we listen more carefully. We are isolated. You know, if I'm at home and listening to the radio, it's easy to get up and go do something else, or if a phone rings, you go and you answer the phone. Whereas if you're right in front of those musicians, you're watching everything they do and you catch the little things they do, the smiles they give each other, or, you know, it's a different experience. Yeah.
Doreen holds multiple degrees, including music academics, so it isn't surprising that she has been coordinating the recital series at JCCC for many years. She got acquainted with great jazz musicians back in the 1980s when she moved here to accept a position as Director of Cultural Arts for Kansas City. Part of that work included the Kansas City Jazz Festival, a weekend full of music and jam sessions to celebrate our jazz heritage.
Back in the 20s and 30s, we were pretty darn important because we were the end of the Toba circuit, the circuit that brought African-American musicians around to different venues all the way and stopped in Kansas City. So a lot of them ended up here. Count Basie came that way, yeah, and was here for a while and then went on to New York.
Doreen's interest in Kansas City jazz eventually led her to one of Kansas City's best performers, Frank Smith, a well-known pianist and band leader who eventually became her husband.
He was a very fine man. I admired him and learned so much from him, not just about music, but it was a very good relationship, yeah.
Frank taught Doreen a lot about Kansas City's jazz history and unique jazz sound.
Kansas City developed a sound that is sort of the Kansas City sound. It's one that maybe uses a little more blues in it than some other sounds from other places. And you can still hear that in many of the groups. You can hear that kind of makes you want to move your shoulders or that sort of thing.
That sort of thing might include a magical moment like this that happened at JCCC on that Tuesday morning. Angela Hagenbach's improvisational scat is spontaneously and perfectly replicated by jazz guitarist Rod Fleeman on the fly. Something common among jazz musicians, yet amazing to the audience. And the audience hasn't even arrived yet. A bus arrives from Lakeview Village. Others come from all over Kansas City, including campus faculty and students, to enjoy an hour of free jazz from these amazing artists. How long does Doreen plan to keep the noontime recitals going at JCCC?
As long as it works for everybody. As long as musicians will play, as long as the college wants it, and there's a space, and as long as the audience comes, all those things are important, and as long as I keep able to do it.
This is Angela Hagenbach's Hot Latin Jazz Ensemble.